Psalm chapter 37 and verse 7. Rest in Yahweh and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Yasharallah, and salutation to the Archean throughout the four corners of the earth, preaching the truth and sincerity, and keeping the faith of Yahweh Shai and the gospel. This is Yahweh Allah. As you've seen, if you're still up, they pretty much the United Kingdom, or also known as Great Britain, has officially voted to leave the European Union. And basically just this vote alone is sending, a lot of, problems within the economic markets as of right now. And pretty much it's caused David Cameron, the prime minister, to step down. Okay, now all this stuff is a setup. They already knew that they were going to basically eventually be able to get enough people to do this. And even if they didn't vote this way, they can rig it. So it really doesn't matter. The elites have full control over this. Ultimately, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai has full control. But they're doing exactly what they wanted to do. And right here is really just a domino, right? It's like the first domino in a next set of dominoes of what's going to happen throughout the rest of Europe. And because Britain, which is a highly respected country within the European Union, does this is going to actually galvanize the rest of the nationalists in these other countries to do the same thing. And I already watching, I've seen that there was already reports that France wants to do it, Italy wants to have their own referendum as well. And pretty much you can see that now this is actually strengthening the hands of the nationalists in all these different countries because of what the United Kingdom has done. So pretty much as of right now, we're expecting to see definitely some turmoil more within the markets. Now I'm gonna kind of go into what's been going on and reported so far just briefly, and this is right here. This is from Bloomberg. It says Brexit upends global markets as stocks pound plunge and the yen soars. So pretty much now you got pretty much people who are leaving and moving away from the British pound and going into other, monies or other, pretty much apparatuses of the elites. Because at the end of the day, they control all these different things. This whole fiat currency system was forced upon all nations to use. So the whole reason why this is happening is because you got different economic triggers that are going to eventually bring the full global collapse. So by weakening the pound through this Brexit, it's actually allowing for them to make that move when later on this year, when that Chinese yuan gets in there, it's going to actually have a more interesting effect on the other currencies. So now that you got the British pound taking a plunge because of the uncertainty, the euro also can do the same thing. All right, so I'm going to just kind of read this as well. This says here, sterling slides most on record as UK stocks futures plunge. Oil sinks to $47 as industrial metal drops, gold surges. Right? Because what happens is that the economists always say the safe bet right now is the gold. But gold is not going to deliver in the time of death. All right, so pretty much that's just all a way for them to basically get people to get rid of all their assets that they have now within this current economic system and basically lose everything when the collapse comes. All right, because there's really going to be no place to hide your assets or money because they control everything. Ultimately, they're going to basically do away with the fiat currency system. All right, that's basically what they're going to do. All right, which we'll get a little bit into later on. Now it says here that global markets buckled as Britain's vote on European Union membership infected every asset class. All right, so you see there, it says the global markets buckled as Britain's vote on the European Union membership infected every asset class. Why? Because other currencies are going to be somewhat affected in one way or another because the European Union is a massive trading bloc. So it's going to have some kind of effect on other currencies one way or another. Now, from what we've seen already, as far as the reports that are out there, the British pound is actually worth less than the US dollar. So, I mean, that's something that is almost unheard of, but this is happening now, okay? To where a US dollar is stronger than the British pound, okay? Now, it says here that the pound plunged by a record and the euro slid by the most since it was introduced in 1999 as the BBC projected a victory for the Leave campaign, with most votes counted in Britain's referendum on membership of the European Union. So this is the largest slide, the largest plunge for both the pound and the euro. Now, the pound and the euro are one of 5 world reserve currencies, okay? Or really one of 5, because the 5th one is going to be the Chinese yuan. That's going to be coming, I believe it's sometime in November, all right? So you got the pound, you got the euro, you got the US dollar, you got the Japanese yen. Those are the 4 world reserve currencies at the moment. The 5th one is going to be the Chinese yuan. Now, when you think about things in a weighted manner, what has happened now with the pound is that it is now weighted less within that 5 because of what happened with the Brexit. Now, we're gonna see how they play and manipulate the markets in the coming days, weeks, and months, and how that's going to affect everything leading up to the introduction of the Chinese yuan, because the Chinese yuan is there to create some kind of other turmoil, all right, because they have different economic triggers that's going to continue to bring down the global economy, okay? Now, when you go further on, it says South Africa's rand led slides among the currencies of commodity exporting nations as oil sank to about $47 a barrel and industrial metals slumped. The yen surged and gold soared with U.S. treasuries as investors piled into haven assets. So this is what they're doing, because see, all these people have been taught in their economics classes, they've been taught by their economic gurus that this is what you do when A happens, you do B. So people are basically just doing what they've been taught by these devils, man, by the elite bankers. So they don't understand that gold is not going to help them, because if they would understand, they're not going to be able to. If you can't hold gold in your hands, you don't got the gold. And even if you do got the gold, how are you going to protect yourself when in the time of trouble? If you don't, look, there's a reason why gold was stored in a fort. They had some place called Fort Knox, where you basically had your gold protected by military. So what is a one man with a gold certificate going to be able to do in the time of trouble when he has that? It's going to be worthless. All right, because the elites have stockpiled all this gold for themselves and left the people with paper, and eventually they're going to leave people with something else, the RFID chip, because that's the ultimate plan with what they're doing. That's the end game. That says futures on FTSE 100 index plunged with S&P 500 index contracts as Asian stocks dropped by the most in 5 years. And then it has, the pictures right here. You see gold spiking up. You see the sovereign bonds. Okay, I mean, you pretty much see the pound dropping. This is 10.31%, but it's actually probably going to drop even further, because right now, in the U.S., they haven't even opened up the markets yet. So once the market comes open on this side of the world and the sun begins to rise in the west after it's already risen in the east, we're going to see what the end of the day is going to look like with this situation. Because see, this is all due to market speculation, but just by the people voting that they want out of it, which they said it'll take 2 years. It doesn't matter if it takes 2 years. Just by it being out there, that's enough to basically drive uncertainty in the market when it comes to the pound and the euro. Okay, so it says here, it's scary, and I've never seen anything like it, said James Butterfield, head of research and investments at ETF Securities, said by phone from London. We're going to see outflows from basically any kind of cyclical asset. A lot of people were caught out, and many investors will lose a lot of money. So people's so-called 401k or retirement savings over there in Europe, all right, throughout the European Union and the UK, probably is taking a massive hit right now. And pretty much you got different things that they're going to start doing all right, over the next few weeks and months to basically tighten up things on the people, you know. So it says here, the debate over the UK's EU membership has dominated investor sentiment throughout June, with appetite for riskier assets having built up over the past week as bookmakers' odds suggested the chance of a so-called Brexit was less than 1 in 4. The victory for the Leave campaign will fan speculation that more countries could withdraw from the EU, and finance officials in the world's biggest economies may intervene as reaction in financial markets prove reminiscent of late 2008 at the height of the global financial crisis. Okay, so this is the time when they're trying to basically bring in that chaos within the market. And this is going to be blamed largely on nationalism, on people not wanting to basically be separated and not wanting to be in a system together. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to basically bring a problem reaction solution and basically make the people think that after this turmoil comes, that they're going to be able to point and say, well, look, it was because y'all wanted to be separate. Well, guess what? We want everybody to be together under one economic system. And that's what they're going to basically try and sell to the masses, to say that way something like this wouldn't happen again. And we all don't have to worry about market ups and downs because of what one country did. We're all one. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to basically build up that tower like back in Babylon with Nimrod. All right, so that's what they're effectively trying to do, because, as you know, Esau is known as the daughter of Babylon. So he's got that same vibration of what he's trying to do, because back then, in that time, there was all one currency, there was all one language, everybody was one, in one accord, in one mind, and that's what they want to basically bring back. So a global currency has always been something that has been around from that time, but the way it is now is set up differently through pretty much deception through that fiat currency system. So kind of going on, you know, this is just on USA Today. It says reasons Americans, well, actually, let me go and read it on here. 4 reasons Americans should care about Brexit. So it says citizens of Great Britain vote Thursday in a referendum dubbed the Brexit on whether their country should exit the European Union. Here are the 4 reasons why Americans have a stake in the results. Weakening of America's largest trading partner. The EU is the most lucrative market for American goods as the largest trading partner for the United States. Now, people would think it's China, but the EU collectively together is the largest trading partner, right? To the extent that an exit by Great Britain would signal a demise or diminishment of the 28-nation bloc, it could undermine that economic bulwark. A matrix of trade agreements between the EU and the US would be complicated, and negotiated adjustments would be necessary. Total US investment in the EU is 3 times higher than in all of Asia, and Britain is the top country in the EU for American investments. So guess what? It's going to have to start hurting some of those investments of Americans as well. So you got a little bit of a trigger that's going to basically, you know, bring the economies down to a peg, man, because they know that these different things they're making it look natural. Oh, look, this country decided to leave, so we're going to devalue this. They're trying to make this economic collapse look as natural as possible to the naked eye. But those that are spiritual know that this is all a setup. Okay? So it says a survey in the March of American companies showed 95% favor Britain remaining in the EU, and President Obama has strongly urged the same. It says for the prospect that Britain might exit the EU roiled worldwide stocks markets last week as investors grew tight-fisted over the uncertainty associated with the breakdown of the status quo. Right? And just skip that a little bit. It says, now this is another reason, loss of national security benefits. As a strong ally of the U.S., Britain provides valuable information to American intelligence agencies about the inner workings of the EU, a benefit that would be lost should Brexit pass. The British are our window into the European Union, said retired General Wesley Clark, former NATO commander. Moreover, the EU would lose a strong voice for international security actions favored by the U.S., such as necessary sanctions on Russia, bruise worldwide economic growth. Several research studies argued that the UK, one of the few bright spots in a fragile worldwide economy would suffer financially by leaving the EU. One major consultancy group, Capital Economics, estimates a British GDP reduction of 2.2% if the pound and in turn the euro were to subsequently lose value against the dollar. It may even stronger, U.S. exports would suffer more than they already have. So that lets you know right there, which is happening right now. Now, mind you, this article was written 3 days ago, before the official Brexit, basically being done. All right, with this referendum now being passed through the votes today. So pretty much, as you see here, I already said early in the lesson that the dollar is made stronger now. So that's actually going to be bad for the U.S. because now exports are going to suffer now because of just the cost of those exports and how much they want to get for those different goods that are created here or come from American companies. They're going to want more. They're going to want more from cheaper currencies. And people their bank account didn't just magically grow overnight. And the weakening of the euro, the weakening of the pound, that can basically lead to situations like you see in Venezuela. Because what's happening in Venezuela was due to devaluation of currency, inflation. So that's the type of stuff that can happen where things can be made harder for the people that are out there. All right, so just going to kind of go into another short article. This is going into the Bank of England. All right, now it says Bank of England is in close contact with banks after vote for Brexit. The Bank of England supervisory arm is in contact with banks ahead of the market open after Britain voted to leave the European Union, a source familiar with the situation said on Friday. World financial markets divided as nearly complete results showed a 51.8 to a 48.2% split for leaving the EU. Sterling sank to its lowest level since 1985, so in over 30 years, its lowest level, and the London stock market is set to fall sharply at the open. The Bank of England's Prudential Regulation Authority is in close contact with banks. Now, this is very short, but expect some level of control that's going to be implemented or regulations going to be implemented upon the people, because the Bank of England is a heavy influencer of the world economic market. So they're going to basically do something, and they're actually, I read in another article that they're going to be dealing with other central banks as well. So expect something to go on with that, man. As you see, things is looking like they could get chaotic pretty soon, so hey, we got to hold our head, which is Yahweh Shai, because man, this is could be some tough times. Right now, we know that this is happening because this is the plans of the elites to eventually collapse the economy to bring about their new currency system, all right, for the new world order. But first, they got to bring the pain, all right, upon the people. Now, going into Revelations chapter 13 and verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. All right, so pretty much that's what they're going to do, because what people don't understand is that they're not going to leave people with the paper money. Monopoly money is out the door. The new thing is the RFID chip. That's what they want to put on the people. But first, they got to make this thing look like a natural, hard collapse, so that people won't suspect that these doubles actually orchestrated this whole thing. Okay? So, hey, we're almost at the end of this place, man. These devils going to keep doing what they're going to do because they were set up to do that. Do what they're supposed to do and be the wicked. Right? This is Micah chapter 2 and verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. And that's the reason why they're doing it, because the Most High gave them the power to do it, and they're doing actually the bidding of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. They're going right deep into the path of their own destruction, as he's known, the son of perdition. All right, so as you see, man, this Brexit thing has officially gone down. We're going to see how this thing transpires. Hey, we're going to stay on top of our watch. Again, also watch and pray, all right, that you may be able to be counted worthy to stand before, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, so again, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Yahshua, and salutation to the Akim, throughout the four corners of the earth, preaching the truth and sincerity, keeping the faith in Yahweh Shai and the gospel. Shalom.